Effort only creates success when it's aligned with purpose. You can row harder, but if you're facing the wrong shore, you'll never arrive. That thought alone can change the way you see everything you do. We've all been taught that hard work is the secret, that if you just push harder, stay longer, and keep going, something good will come of it. And yes, hard work matters, but it only matters when it's pointed in the right direction. You can pour your strength into the wrong goal and never know it until years have passed. You can give your energy, your time, your heart, and still feel stuck in the same place, wondering why all that effort hasn't led you where you hoped to be. Effort by itself is neutral. It only gains meaning when it has a purpose behind it. A ship doesn't reach its destination just because its sails are full. It reaches because the compass is true. We've come to confuse activity with achievement. Everyone's moving fast, always in motion, always busy. But movement alone doesn't build anything. What builds something is movement with direction, effort that's attached to understanding. Hard work on its own has created plenty of exhausted people, but not always fulfilled ones. Not because they didn't have discipline or drive, but because they never stopped long enough to ask a simple question: am I moving towards something that actually matters? You can climb for years and only at the top realize the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. That's what happens when energy outruns purpose. Effort turns into routine, and routine quietly replaces reflection. There's nothing admirable about running fast toward nowhere. There's no wisdom in persistence without awareness. Life doesn't reward motion, it rewards meaning. It doesn't give you credit for effort spent. It responds to effort aligned. Every success story begins not with force, but with focus, with someone taking time to understand why before deciding how. When your work is backed by purpose, it multiplies instead of scatters. It builds momentum instead of fatigue. The hardest truth for ambitious people to accept is that more isn't always better. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do isn't to go faster, it's to stop and think. Sometimes the most productive step forward is a quiet step inward. Direction must come before drive. Vision must come before velocity. Otherwise, you end up rowing harder and harder, chasing currents that were never yours to follow. Effort, when misplaced, becomes a form of punishment, but when guided by purpose, it becomes a path, a clear one. It gives your work meaning, your struggles weight, and your success a reason to exist. The missing ingredient to success isn't harder work. It's right work. It's clarity. It's knowing where you're going before you give everything you've got to get there. So before you push harder, pause longer. Ask yourself honestly, is the direction I'm facing still the one that leads to who I want to become? Because the fastest way to lose your strength is to spend it without aim. And the surest way to build a life that lasts is to align your strength with something that matters. That's where real success begins, not with more effort, but with wiser effort. Why working harder can sometimes push you further from success. Hard work has power. It can change a life, but only when it's moving in the right direction, because no amount of effort can make up for being off course. You can spend years giving everything you've got and still end up far from where you wanted to be. Not because you were lazy, but because your effort was never aimed at the right thing. Sometimes working harder doesn't bring you closer to success. It pushes you further away from it. The harder you row toward the wrong shore, the further you drift from the right one. We all fall into that trap at some point. We think that as long as we're busy, we must be progressing. It feels safe to stay in motion, to keep going, to keep our hands full, to stay productive. But busyness is not the same as growth. It can become a way to hide from the harder question, am I doing the right work? Effort can become a shield. It gives us the comfort of activity without the discomfort of reflection. It's easier to work longer than to stop and think deeply, but the truth is, you can't correct what you won't examine. If the path itself is wrong, more effort only takes you further down it. If the plan is flawed, more hours won't fix it. And if your goals are unclear, no amount of energy will bring peace, only fatigue. The danger of hard work without direction is that it feels virtuous. You feel proud for being busy, even if you're getting nowhere. You tell yourself you're grinding, building, staying committed, and meanwhile, time, the one thing you can never earn back, slips quietly through your hands. There's nothing noble about exhaustion without progress. There's no reward in effort that lacks aim. You weren't made to simply stay tired. You were made to move meaningfully. Sometimes the smartest move you can make isn't to push harder, but to pause, to step back and ask, what am I really building here? Where is all this energy actually taking me? Because clarity, not intensity, is what separates motion from achievement. Working harder isn't wrong. It just isn't enough. You have to work wisely. You have to make sure the ladder you're climbing is leaning against the right wall before you spend your life climbing it. The person who pauses to think before acting may look slower at first, but time will always favor the one who moves with purpose. Effort is like fire. It can build or it can burn. It depends on where you direct it. So don't be proud just because you're busy. Be proud when your work means something. Be proud when your effort builds something lasting, inside you or around you. Because hard work without direction isn't dedication. It's drift. And drift always leads you away from yourself. The difference between movement and progress. Movement and progress. They look the same from a distance, but they couldn't be more different. Movement is activity. Progress is advancement. One burns energy, the other builds direction. You can move all day and end the day right where you started. You can fill a calendar, stack up hours, and still not get an inch closer to what really matters. Progress, on the other hand, doesn't always look busy. It's often calm, deliberate, patient. Movement feeds the ego. Progress feeds the soul. Movement says, look how much I'm doing. Progress says, look how far I've come. The world celebrates motion because it's easy to measure. The long hours, the meetings, the noise of productivity. But real success has always belonged to those who can stay steady on a single line of purpose while the rest of the world spins in circles. You can live a lifetime in movement, full of tasks, goals, checklists, and still feel hollow at the end of it. Because motion without meaning doesn't fill you, it empties you. It takes more than it gives. Progress begins the moment you decide to stop doing everything and start doing something well. It begins when you trade speed for steadiness, when you stop counting hours and start counting results. It's not about how much you do, it's about what you're doing is doing for you. A person in constant movement feels accomplished but often confused. They mistake fatigue for fulfillment. They think because they're tired, they must be moving forward. But tiredness is not a sign of progress. It's only a sign of energy spent. Progress is quieter. It doesn't demand attention, it earns it. It builds slowly, one right decision at a time, one purposeful effort layered upon the last. It doesn't depend on luck or bursts of energy. It depends on direction, and direction comes from understanding what truly matters. Movement chases momentum. Progress builds it. Movement depends on pressure. Progress depends on purpose. Movement feels urgent. Progress feels meaningful. To know which one you're living, ask yourself this. After all my effort, am I closer to what I value or just more tired from the chase? If your work brings clarity, you're progressing. If it only brings exhaustion, you're just moving. Progress may not always be fast, but it's always forward. It rewards patience, not panic. It builds roots before branches. And when those roots grow deep, nothing can shake what you're building. Sometimes slowing down is the only way to see where you're really going. When you pause, you notice things the hurried can't. Small corrections, small realizations, quiet truths. That's where progress begins, not in speed, but in awareness. So take a step back from constant motion. Look at the path you're on. Ask yourself, is this leading somewhere I want to arrive? Because one day you'll look back, and the question won't be, how hard did I work? It will be, did I move in the right direction? And if you can answer that with certainty, that's progress. How to identify your true direction. Before you invest your effort. Before you give your energy to anything, you need to know where it's taking you. That may sound simple, but it's where most lives go off course, not from lack of effort, but from lack of clarity. Clarity doesn't come from motion, it comes from pause. You find direction not when you're rushing, but when you're still long enough to listen to what your mind is saying, to what your instincts are whispering, and to what your life is quietly showing you. To know your true direction, start by asking the hardest question of all. What do I really want my work to mean? Not what others expect, not what looks impressive, but what feels honest, what feels yours. Because success that doesn't align with who you are will never feel like success at all. You can reach every milestone and still sense that something is missing. That something is alignment, the simple harmony between what you're doing and why you're doing it. Your direction lives in the intersection between your ability, your interest, and your conscience. What are you naturally good at? What holds your attention without effort? And what allows you to serve something larger than yourself? When those three meet, you found a path that will never run dry. Before you pour in effort, take time to examine that. Because once you commit fully to the wrong thing, turning back becomes harder, not impossible, but costly. Effort is a precious currency. Spend it wisely. You find direction by observing your own fulfillment. Notice the work that leaves you quietly proud, not just relieved. Notice the kind of effort that energizes you rather than drains you. Your emotions are guides, not rulers, but signals. When your heart feels settled after effort, you're facing the right way. When it feels restless, something is misaligned. Don't rush this process. Clarity takes patience. The world will try to convince you that action matters more than understanding, that doing is always better than thinking. But reflection is not inaction, it's intelligent preparation. A person who takes the time to think deeply before moving wastes less energy than one who moves constantly without direction. Reflection is efficiency in its purest form. And once you've found your direction, guard it carefully. The world will test it. You'll face distractions, opinions, opportunities that look tempting but lead nowhere. The greatest discipline is learning to stay on your path when others wander. Direction gives peace to your effort. When you know why you're doing something, every obstacle becomes manageable, every challenge part of the journey, instead of a reason to quit. So before you invest your effort, ask yourself, does this goal fit the person I'm becoming? Does it build what I value? Does it serve something beyond myself? If the answer is yes, then work with all your heart. If the answer is uncertain, wait and listen longer. Because a day spent finding the right direction is worth more than a year spent moving without one. The mindset shift that transforms struggle into strategy. Struggle is not a sign that something's wrong. It's often a sign that something important is trying to take shape. The difference between those who grow and those who give up isn't the struggle itself, it's how they see it. The right mindset turns every challenge into a teacher. The wrong one turns it into a wall. When you approach difficulty with panic, you waste it. When you approach it with patience, you learn from it. That's the shift that changes everything, realizing that struggle isn't the enemy of success, it's part of the process that shapes it. Hardship doesn't just test your strength, it reveals your direction. If every challenge you face feels unbearable, it might be because your work isn't anchored in purpose. But when your struggle supports something meaningful, the weight becomes easier to carry. A clear purpose transforms effort into strategy. It gives reason to pain, order to confusion, and endurance to fatigue. When you stop seeing struggle as punishment and start seeing it as refinement, life begins to work differently. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" And that small shift, that single question, turns frustration into wisdom. You can't avoid struggle. You can only choose how you meet it. You can fight it, or you can use it. You can resent it, or you can let it polish you. Every challenge carries within it an instruction, something you were meant to understand about yourself or your craft. Effort without reflection leads to exhaustion. Effort guided by reflection leads to evolution. That's what separates endless struggle from productive struggle. the ability to pause, to think, to extract meaning from difficulty instead of running from it. When you begin to see challenges as necessary, your whole attitude changes. You stop expecting ease and you start preparing for growth. You understand that success isn't built in moments of comfort, it's built in moments of correction. This mindset turns setbacks into strategy. You learn to adjust, to adapt, to realign. You stop forcing outcomes and start building foundations. It's no longer about fighting the waves, it's about learning how to sail through them. The person who treats struggle as part of the process becomes unshakable. Because while others waste energy resisting reality, he uses that same energy to understand it, and understanding is always an advantage. If you can stay calm in discomfort, you can learn from anything. And once you learn, nothing is wasted. Not time, not pain, not effort. Every obstacle, when viewed rightly, gives you either progress or perspective, and both are forms of success. So when you face your next challenge, don't rush to escape it. Ask it what it's here to teach, because the moment you begin to learn from your struggle, it stops being a burden and becomes your strategy. How alignment, not intensity, creates lasting success. Lasting success isn't built from bursts of intensity. It's built from steady alignment. Anyone can sprint for a while. Few can stay on course for years. Intensity is exciting. It feels powerful in the moment. The long nights, the big pushes, the rush of doing everything at once. But intensity burns fast. Alignment, on the other hand, builds slowly, and it lasts. When your work, your values, and your goals all move in the same direction, effort becomes lighter. You still work hard, but it doesn't feel forced. You don't have to push through resistance every day because your energy is no longer divided. That's the quiet advantage of alignment. It removes friction from your life. The person who is aligned doesn't wake up dreading their work. They wake up with a sense of steadiness. Even when the days are long, something inside says, "This is right." And that's the kind of peace intensity can never buy. When your actions match your beliefs, you stop fighting yourself. When your goals match your nature, you stop feeling lost. You begin to work with yourself instead of against yourself. And that's when things start to grow naturally. Success isn't about how much effort you give in a single moment. It's about how consistent your effort stays over time. And consistency comes easily when what you're doing feels aligned with who you are. Alignment gives strength to endurance. It gives patience to ambition. It gives meaning to success. Intensity can move mountains for a day. Alignment can shape landscapes for a lifetime. The aligned person doesn't chase every opportunity. They know where they're headed, and they let the right things find them. They work steadily, with discipline, but without desperation. Their success grows quietly, like a tree, rooted, balanced, unshaken. When your inner life and your outer work move together, you stop needing constant motivation. You don't have to force energy into what already feeds you. That's why alignment produces not just success, but fulfillment. It's easy to confuse passion with alignment. Passion is emotional. Alignment is structural. Passion can come and go. It's the spark. Alignment is the design. It's what keeps the fire burning even when the spark fades. To live in alignment is to know what truly matters and to build around it. It's to say no to the unnecessary, to stop competing with noise, to measure progress by peace instead of applause. Because when your work serves your purpose, success stops being something you chase. It becomes something you grow. Intensity demands energy. Alignment creates it. Intensity burns fuel. Alignment builds momentum. One fades when willpower runs out. The other strengthens with every step. So, if you ever find yourself exhausted by effort, it may not be that you're weak. It may be that you're misaligned. Check your compass before you check your calendar. You don't need to go faster, you just need to go true. Because the right path doesn't drain you, it develops you. And the moment your effort and your purpose finally move in the same direction, success stops feeling like struggle and starts feeling like peace. So in the end, success doesn't belong to the one who works the hardest. It belongs to the one who works with direction. Effort alone can make you tired. aligned effort can make you great. Because strength without purpose fades, but purpose turns strength into power. You can spend your whole life rowing, or you can stop long enough to face the right shore, and then every stroke begins to count. That's the real secret to progress. Not doing more, but doing what matters most. When your work is guided by clarity, even ordinary days become meaningful. When your effort matches your purpose, every struggle starts to serve you instead of drain you. You don't need more energy, you need alignment. You don't need more hours, you need understanding. Once those two meet, life stops feeling like a chase and starts feeling like a journey. Because success isn't about reaching faster, it's about arriving right. So before you rush into another day, take a moment to look at where your effort is leading you. If it's towards something that matters, keep going. If it's not, turn. Effort builds strength, but direction builds destiny. And when the two move together, there's nothing you cannot become.